For 2 long months, America believed the story was settled. The headlines said justice was served. The FBI had caught the man who assassinated Charlie Kirk, 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson. His face became the face of guilt. His name became a symbol of hate. The nation moved on, confident that the truth had already been found. But now, questions are resurfacing, questions too sharp, too precise to ignore. What if the narrative we were given was never the full picture? What if an innocent man has been buried beneath the weight of a story that doesn't add up? New evidence, overlooked details, and conflicting forensic findings are forcing investigators, journalists, and the public to look again at every frame of video, every timeline, every inch of the scene where Charlie Kirk's life ended. Tonight, we return to the case that shook a nation, not to reopen old wounds, but to uncover the truth hidden beneath the noise. The truth that could change everything we thought we knew about that day at Utah Valley University. If you believe truth still matters, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us, because what you're about to hear might challenge everything you were told. September 10th, 2025, Utah Valley University, Orem, Utah. The campus was alive with anticipation. Thousands had gathered under a bright sky for the first stop of Charlie Kirk's American comeback tour. More than 3,000 people filled the courtyard. Students, families, and supporters packed shoulder to shoulder, waiting to hear a man whose words often stirred strong emotions on both sides of the political divide. It began like any other speaking event, the crowd cheering, cell phones raised, the stage framed by flags and lights. Security officers stood watch, scanning the open area as Kirk took the microphone. He had just begun his introduction, thanking the crowd for being there, when the sound that changed everything tore through the air. A single gunshot. One sharp, hollow crack that echoed against the buildings and froze the moment in time. At first, many thought it was a loudspeaker malfunction or a burst of feedback. But within seconds, confusion turned to fear. People began to scream. The crowd scattered in every direction. Chairs toppled. Phones dropped. Paramedics stationed near the event rushed toward the stage. Officers pushed through the mass of people trying to flee. Within minutes, the scene became a blur of sirens, flashing lights, and desperate voices calling for calm. Kirk lay on the ground as medics worked frantically to stabilize him. Witnesses said he never regained consciousness. Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead on sight. The news traveled faster than anyone could comprehend. Within an hour, every major network had broken into live coverage. The footage replayed over and over, a speaker mid-sentence, a sharp sound, then chaos. Authorities moved quickly. Campus police and local law enforcement secured the area, locking down surrounding buildings. Initial reports claimed a possible shooter had been spotted on a nearby rooftop, a figure dressed in dark clothing, fleeing toward a parking structure behind the main hall. Within hours, federal investigators joined the scene. Drones scanned rooftops, helicopters circled overhead, and a full-scale manhunt began. The message from officials was clear. The attack had been targeted, deliberate, and carried out with precision. That night, as the campus fell silent under police floodlights, makeshift memorials began to appear at the university gates. Flowers, candles, handwritten notes. America watched in disbelief, mourning the death of a political figure who had stirred both admiration and anger, and demanding answers. The next morning, the nation woke to a single headline that would define the next 2 months. Suspect identified in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Within 33 hours after the shooting, authorities announced an arrest. The suspect, 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson, a computer science student at Utah Valley University. His name surfaced after investigators traced social media activity they described as deeply concerning. Posts criticizing Charlie Kirk's speeches and ideologies began circulating across the internet, quickly painting Tyler as a man with a motive. By morning, his photo was everywhere, his mugshot beside Kirk's smiling image in televised split screens. The story seemed to write itself. a radicalized student, angry at the system, taking matters into his own hands. Law enforcement officials claimed they had found the weapon, a high-powered rifle, inside a storage locker registered under Tyler's name. Matching shell casings were discovered near the rooftop where the shooter had allegedly fired the single fatal shot. The prosecution wasted no time shaping the narrative. They described it as a politically driven assassination, calculated, intentional, and fueled by hatred. To the public, it sounded definitive. The case appeared airtight, but behind the scenes, cracks were already forming. As digital forensic analysts reviewed the data, inconsistencies began to surface. Tyler's phone records showed activity just minutes after the shooting, but the location pings placed him nearly 6 miles away from campus. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station, time-stamped at 12:33 p.m., appeared to show a car resembling his parked by the fuel pumps, while, according to the official timeline, the shooting had taken place only 2 minutes earlier. Friends and classmates described Tyler as quiet, analytical, and politically outspoken, but never violent. He had no criminal history, no record of aggression, and no known association with extremist groups. His professors called him brilliant but reclusive. Still, the narrative gained momentum. News outlets replayed clips of his social posts, highlighting every phrase that could sound threatening when taken out of context. Within hours, he became a national villain. Protesters gathered outside the local courthouse. Opinion pieces flooded social media. The pressure for swift justice was immense. But as the investigation deepened, the supposed evidence, the weapon, the shell casings, even fragments of his online footprint, started to reveal something that didn't fit the story authorities had already told. The official report described the scene with precision. A single shot fired from the rooftop of a campus building positioned directly behind the main audience area. Investigators claimed the bullet had traveled on a downward angle, striking Charlie Kirk from behind as he stood at the podium. On paper, the science seemed to confirm the story. The ballistics, the angle, the casings, everything appeared to point toward one shooter and one location. But as time passed, fragments of evidence began surfacing from independent sources, leaked photographs, slowed-down footage from attendees' phones, and high-resolution frames captured by the university's live stream camera. When analyzed together, they painted a very different picture. Invitation has never been more crucial. Each frame of footage, each microsecond of audio could hold the key to understanding who truly fired the fatal shot. And until these analyses are complete, the question remains, was Tyler Robinson really the man responsible, or has the wrong person been carrying the weight of a nation's anger? As the case moved into the courtroom, the tension between the prosecution and the defense became increasingly pronounced. Prosecutors argued that the forensic inconsistencies raised by independent analysts were irrelevant to Tyler Robinson's guilt. They maintained that he had planned the attack in advance, acquired the weapon, and even posted cryptic messages online in the hours leading up to the assassination evidence, they said, of premeditation and motive. The defense countered with a different narrative. They claimed that digital evidence presented by investigators may have been compromised during an FBI data sync, calling into question the integrity of timestamps, metadata, and other critical files. More strikingly, they presented cell phone location pings showing Tyler in a location several miles away from the campus at the exact time of the shooting. According to these records, he could not have physically been on the rooftop or anywhere near the stage when the fatal shot was fired. Witnesses were brought forward to corroborate his movements, and technical experts testified on the potential for data manipulation, both accidental and deliberate. Every claim and counterclaim intensified the courtroom drama, leaving the jury and the public questioning the accuracy of the official story. Recognizing the significance of these disputes, the presiding judge ordered a full, independent re-examination of both ballistic evidence and cellular data. This decision allowed forensic laboratories unaffiliated with the original investigation to analyze the evidence with fresh eyes, ensuring that the case would not be decided on potentially flawed or incomplete information. For Tyler Robinson and his family, the courtroom became both a battlefield and a lifeline, a place where evidence, truth, and interpretation collided, with the possibility that the official account could be overturned or at least rigorously challenged. If Tyler Robinson is truly innocent, then the person who ended Charlie Kirk's life remains at large, untouched by justice. That possibility is almost impossible for supporters of Kirk to accept. They remember the moment the shot rang out, the chaos, the grief that swept across the campus and the nation. To them, the thought that the wrong man is being held accountable is devastating. For Tyler's family, the impact has been equally profound, but in a very different way. Their son has been branded a murderer before a single verdict was reached. Friends and neighbors have looked at him with suspicion. Threats have followed them everywhere. Their quiet home has become a public stage for anger, judgment, and outrage, a relentless reminder that public perception often moves faster than fact. This case, however, is about more than one man or one tragedy. It forces the nation to confront a larger question. How did political anger and division escalate to the point where truth itself is treated as a battlefield? How do we discern fact from assumption when every piece of evidence is contested, every interpretation debated, and every motive questioned? Whether Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger or not, one undeniable truth remains. This event has fractured trust. Trust in law enforcement, trust in media reporting, and trust in one another. Communities are left searching for answers that may take months, years, or perhaps a lifetime to fully understand. In the end, the lives affected are countless. The family of Charlie Kirk, grieving a life cut short. Tyler Robinson and his family, fighting for their son's innocence, and the public, forced to watch the story unfold in real time, unsure who to believe or what to hope for. As the investigation continues, one thing is clear: the story is far from over. The search for truth must continue, because justice and the nation's faith in it depends on it. The truth does not remain hidden forever. It may take time, patience, and persistence, but it always finds a way to emerge. Sometimes, it waits for those willing to look deeper, to question what they have been told, and to demand that evidence speaks louder than assumption. If you believe that this story and the search for clarity in the life and death of Charlie Kirk deserves transparency, then take a stand with us. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, share this video with others, and stay informed. Because the case of Tyler Robinson is far from resolved, and every new piece of evidence brings us closer to understanding what really happened on that day at Utah Valley University.